Our next session explores an exciting partnership that ties together innovation and agriculture, two key sectors for both the US and India. This session highlights the strategic collaboration between Iowa and India, demonstrating how agricultural innovation can drive growth and sustainability. To deliver the keynote, we are honored to have Governor Kim Reynolds of Iowa. Governor Reynolds has championed agricultural advancements and trade, fostering strong links between US farmers and their Indian counterparts. Her efforts have not only increased agricultural productivity, but have also helped address food security concerns globally. To welcome and introduce Governor Reynolds, please welcome Wilson White, Vice President, Government Affairs and Public Policy, Google. Please join me in welcoming them both on stage.
All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you to the U.S.-India Business Council for putting together this summit to celebrate, elevate, and build upon the U.S.-India commercial relationship. My name is Wilson White, and I'm Vice President, Government Affairs and Public Policy at Google, where I look after our Global Platforms and Devices business unit. And recently, I've been voluntold to look after our government affairs operations here in the Asia-Pacific region. Today, I have the privilege of introducing what I consider a friend to the business community, a strong advocate for innovation and a champion of the U.S.-India relationship, Governor Kim Reynolds, the 43rd governor of Iowa and the first woman to be elected to the state's highest office. Woohoo! Governor Reynolds has a long-standing record of public service. She served 4 years as the treasurer of Clark County before being elected to the Iowa Senate in November 2008. 2 years later, she was elected lieutenant governor and served nearly 2 terms before succeeding Bronstad as governor of Iowa in May 2017. She was then elected in November 2018 to her first full term as governor and re-elected in November 2022 to a second term. And secretly, I've been nodding her in the background to continue that trajectory. We're so excited to have you here today, Governor Reynolds, and to call both India and Iowa home. Now, while there are some obvious differences between Iowa and India, I'd like to highlight some of the ways that both of these governments are critically important to Google's mission to organize the world's information and to make it universally accessible and useful. We're currently building our largest campus outside of the United States here in India, and Iowa is home to our largest global data center. Now, both of these investments and the employees working there help to power Google and to support our users both regionally and globally. Now, both in India and Iowa, they're hubs for innovation and economic growth. And we're proud to have partnered with both governments, particularly Governor Reynolds and her administration, to accelerate digital transformation through programs like Google Career Certificates to help train job seekers with in-demand skills, investments in STEM education, and support for startups and small and medium-sized businesses. Now, as a vice president at Google, I would be derelict in my responsibilities if I had an audience like this and didn't mention the word AI. So please indulge me as I fulfill this solemn duty to the company. No, seriously, I think that the transformation that we're currently in with AI is one of the biggest technological transformations that mankind has ever experienced. It's going to fundamentally change how we live our lives, change how we take care of our elderly, how we feed our children, how we protect our planet. And both India and Iowa stand to benefit tremendously from AI adoption to help solve local challenges and unlock economic opportunities for businesses of all sizes. This includes things like detecting cancer earlier and faster, preventing blindness with early detection of diabetic retinopathy, supporting agriculture. And we know agriculture is important both here in India as well as in Iowa, by forecasting crops and unlocking more sustainable ways to feed our people while protecting our planet. Things like making commuting safer and less stressful through citywide traffic management, And these are only just a few ideas, just skimming the surface. So whether you're in the open farmlands of Iowa or the busy streets here of New Delhi, AI is driving advances from the everyday to the extraordinary. From improving tools that we all hopefully use every day, Gmail, Google Search, Google Maps, YouTube, and more, to changing the ways that we do science and tackle big societal challenges. We believe that the right approach to AI can be summed up with 3 words: bold, responsible, together. And I can't think of a better champion for that philosophy for how the business community and government works together to fulfill the responsibilities, but also to realize the benefits of this technological transformation that's underway. So Governor Reynolds, you know how important both Iowa and India are for Google. We're excited to continue partnering with you and your administration to make the Iowa-India and the US-India relationship even stronger. So ladies and gentlemen, Governor Kim Reynolds.
Well, thank you, Wilson, for that very kind introduction, and we are so grateful for Google's investment in our great state to boast about having the largest campus and data center in the United States, the continued investment, and especially the continued partnership. Google has been a great corporate citizen for Iowa, and you invest in the communities where you're located, and we look forward to continuing to drive that partnership and that collaboration in our small state. So thank you very much. You know, it truly is an honor to participate in the Ideas Summit and to do my part to advance USIBC's critical mission of strengthening the connections between India and the United States. I'm sure everyone in this room knows why a partnership between our countries makes sense. 2 of the world's most consequential democracies, each committed to a free enterprise and the rule of law, are a natural fit. But what might be less obvious to some is the role that Iowa has played and can continue to play in facilitating those ties. In March of 1963, a native of Cresco, Iowa, a very small town of less than 4,000 people, arrived in India. His name was Dr. Norman Borlaug, and he was making the trip at the request of the Indian Agricultural Research Institute here in Delhi, which had found success experimenting with some innovative strains of wheat that Dr. Borlaug had bred to resist disease and increase crop yields. For India, that success offered a glimmer of hope at a time when a highly influential scholar was predicting that the nation, quote, couldn't possibly feed 200 million more people by 1980. But Dr. Borlaug and the scientists of the Institute had other ideas. With 100 kilograms of seed in hand, they got to work, planting across the country. More promising results followed, and soon enough, India was aggressively importing even more. In a few short years, they achieved the highest yield ever harvested in South Asia. The green revolution in egg production had arrived, and India would never look back. Today, India's population is nearly triple what it was during Dr. Borlaug's first visit, yet it's now one of the largest food exporters in the world. India's sudden leap into modern agriculture was an essential part of a worldwide transformation that has saved, by some estimates, over 1 billion lives. 6 decades later, the story of the partnership between Dr. Borlaug and his Indian partners holds, I think, some key lessons for the future of the Iowa-India relationship. The Indian Green Revolution was a miracle of innovation that led to decades of economic development. And that formula remains India's most promising plan to becoming the 3rd largest economy in the world. And it's not so different from how Iowa has emerged as an economic powerhouse in the heart of the American Midwest. As America's top producer of corn, soy, eggs, and hogs, Iowa produces 10% of the nation's food supply, despite accounting for less than 1% of its population. We're also #1 in ethanol and biodiesel production, another really critical market for the crops that we grow. Simply put, Iowa farm families feed and fuel the world. But the sheer scale of our production still only tells half the story, because what makes it possible is a broader atmosphere of disruptive innovation. We're proud to be home of a rich ecosystem of respected ag tech startups and established ag companies that are constantly finding new ways to disrupt and change farming. One startup, Pivot Bio, has developed a sustainable way to convert atmospheric nitrogen into fertilizer for crops. The agri-science powerhouse, Corteva, meanwhile serves 10 million customers in 140 countries, and every seed it sells passes through a single Iowa plant at some point in its lifetime, whether it's initial research, early stage development, or greenhouse and field testing. Just as importantly, Iowa has the highest concentration of food scientists in America, and it's no coincidence that our state's growth in bioscience and ag tech venture capital funding has outpaced the rest of the country by 150%. Clearly, the legacy of Dr. Norman Borlaug is alive and well in the state of Iowa, which we believe makes us an ideal partner for India, where the emergence of a robust middle class depends on ever more efficient, sustainable, and profitable agriculture. And we in Iowa have traveled that very same road. But nor do the opportunities for partnership end at the farm. Some are often surprised to learn that Iowa's largest industry by GDP at 17% is actually advanced manufacturing, which generates approximately $27 billion in exports annually. Powered by the third largest manufacturing workforce in the United States, it sends everything from farm equipment to industrial machinery all over the world. And when you add in the fact that Iowa has America's second largest insurance sector, one that's leading the way in applying the latest technology to the industry, I believe what emerges is the kind of diverse economy that offers something for a wide variety of growing companies. So how has Iowa put itself in this position of strength? How have we fostered an environment where innovation is just the normal course of doing business? Well, I believe the answer can be summed up in a single word, and that's partnerships. In Iowa, we work with our businesses, not against them. We are a right-to-work state that doesn't support unfair or burdensome regulations, and our tax rates are low, and I'm proud to say, getting lower. When I took office in 2018, Iowa's top individual income tax rate was the 6th highest in the nation at nearly 9%. 6 years later, we have established a single flat tax rate of 3.8%. We have eliminated the tax on inheritance and retirement income. We've reduced the top corporate tax rate from 12% to a flat 5.5% that will be effective in 2026. The unemployment insurance tax rate on Iowa employers is at its lowest level in 25 years, saving Iowa businesses over $1 billion in just 3 years. No wonder The Economist magazine called Iowa America's tax-cutting champion. Yet even as we prioritize competitiveness, responsible budgeting practices have allowed us to make historic investments in critical long-term priorities and infrastructure, such as childcare, education, workforce, housing, $1 billion investment in broadband, and $100 million in airport infrastructure. Once again, these policies reflect the approach that lies at the heart of Iowa's economic success, a spirit of trust and collaboration with our business community. We understand that it's the surest path to economic prosperity for all, and examples are everywhere. The state is providing financial grants to help manufacturing companies of all sizes adopt technology that they need to remain on the industry's leading edge. We also offer one of the strongest incentives for bio-based chemical industry, as well as we are #1 in the country for reliable, cost-efficient energy that draws from renewable sources at 62%, the highest rate in the United States. But more than anything, Iowa's most important asset is our people. With the 6th highest labor force participation rate in the United States, our workforce, the men and women of Iowa, are famous for their skill, commitment, and productivity. Just as importantly, we're experiencing net in-migration for the 2nd year in a row, and we believe it goes to show that people want to be a part of what Iowa is building. It's a place where families thrive, where businesses grow, and government is responsive to the needs of our industries. In short, it's a state where everyone has the freedom to flourish. At the same time, we also know that we're at our strongest when we forge global relationships built for the long term. And ultimately, that's why I'm here in this great country for the next 10 days. As the relationships between the United States and India continues to strengthen and expand, I want Iowa to play a leading role. Dr. Borlaug and his Indian co-workers certainly did their part some 60 years ago, and now it's our turn. And I absolutely cannot wait to get started. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. I look forward to my time in India. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Reynolds, for those data-driven remarks on the strategic partnership between Iowa and India.